Hi everybody, welcome back to Small Caliber Arms Review. I'm Richard. Today we're going to be taking a look at a Rossi gallery gun. Now I did do a video on the gallery gun, probably about 2 years ago, somewhere around there. And it was a polymer stock, and I really wanted the wooden stock on it because it looks more like a traditional gallery gun. Now I didn't go out and buy another Rossi gallery gun just because this one had the wood stock on it. This one is in 22 Magnum. It is a pretty cool gun. I like 22 Magnum, and I like the pump action. I like lever action. I like the cowboy style guns. This one's got a 20-inch barrel on it, and it is a nice blued steel barrel, nice blued steel on the magazine tube. It is a painted aluminum receiver on there with 4 screws that hold the receiver onto the receiver cover onto the action. Now, if you're going to get one of these, I highly suggest buying you a bore snake. That's going to make cleaning this thing up a whole lot easier because you're not going to be running a rod through there and pushing debris into the receiver. You can open up the action on here and take that bore snake, drop it through there, and clean everything out of the muzzle end there. If you're going to go any farther into this thing, I would suggest being extremely careful with it, because if you take the cover off the receiver, it's not like a Henry 22 lever action or anything. Your bolt is going to come out with the receiver, and it's kind of a pain to get everything finagled into the right positions to get it back in there and get it put back together. I know this, I've done it a couple times. It's a pretty cool gun. Plastic trigger guard on it. The receiver cover does have a groove on the top there for a 3/8 dovetail if you want to mount a scope on it. This one has rear buckhorn sight on it and a brass bead front sight on it. A brass inner magazine tube on there with a bright green follower on the end of it. 20-inch barrel, I may have already said that. Nice rifling inside of it and everything. Nice finish on the gun, even though it is a painted receiver on there. The wood on this thing is really nice. The forend is probably not quite as nice as the buttstock, but nice smooth satin finish on this thing. Plastic butt plate on it, and I don't like plastic butt plates. I like them when they're a little more rubberized. Not because it needs to cushion the recoil for a 22 Magnum, but if you have to set this thing in the corner for whatever reason on a hardwood floor, they tend to be a little slick. That's the only thing I don't like about the hard plastic butt plates on them. Pretty cool gun. We're going to get this thing out on the range, and we're going to use some Winchester Super X. This is a 150 round value pack of 22 Win Mag, 40 grain, 1910 feet per second. They are a jacketed hollow point, and I am a huge fan of 22 Magnum. They are just a whole lot of fun. We're going to take a few shots at probably the 15-yard target, then we may take it over and do some 50 or 100-yard stuff out there. Anyways, let's get out to the range and get this thing shooting. Okay, so we're out here at the range with the gallery gun, the 22 Magnum version of the gallery gun. Now, Rossi did make a gallery gun, the 62A or 62SA, I think it was, many years ago, and it was more of a copy of the Winchester, and it was a takedown version. This one is not a takedown version, and it's not quite as high a quality as this one isn't as high a quality as Rossi did on the 62A. Much nicer looking gun, much closer to the actual gallery guns that Winchester made back in the day. And I was not counting how many rounds I put in there. I'm going to put them in till they fill up to the top there. I think there'll be one more maybe. Maybe one more than that. We'll keep going until it's full. All right, that's it right there. That is all the way to the top of the window there. And it closes up just fine. Now we'll go ahead and set this right here. I'm going to take some shots at the 15-yard target there. I got my eyes on. I'm going to put my ears in, and we're going to give it a shot and see how it does. Okay, we got one in there and ready to go. I've got the sight adjusted as low as it'll go. At 15 yards, it shouldn't be raised up any, really. We're going to take 5 shots. All right, the trigger is kind of heavy on it. It's a big trigger guard on this thing, and it is all plastic. But it's not terrible. It's not a super high precision gun. It's a fun gun. It's a gallery gun. Okay, there's my first 5 shots with the gallery gun. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Not a terrible group, not super accurate, but it's hard to see when you got a buckhorn sight and the front brass bead sight on there. It's hard to get really precision at this distance when you can't see, you know, super detailed where you're shooting at. A scope would make it a whole lot better, and it does have the option to be able to mount a scope on there with the 3/8 groove on the top there. But that's not terrible. Let's take 5 more shots at this one up here and see what I can do. Okay, we're going to do these 5 shots offhand. There's the empty shell from the last round I fired, and let's give it a try. Pulled my earplug out a little bit there. And that was it, and I was not counting, but I'm pretty sure that was more than 5 rounds. And not terrible. A little wobbly there on the offhand stuff, so yeah, it's not a bad group. All right, we're going to put another 13 rounds in the gallery gun, and we're going to take some shots at the steel target and do kind of a rapid fire stuff. You know what, that was 13 there. Yeah, I don't think it's going to hold 14. I think 14 is going to be just a little too much. And if I can get this extra one out, get the magazine tube back in there. I got the eyes and the ears on. Got one chambered. Let's do it. And that was 13 rounds there. Pretty quick. I didn't put fresh paint on my target, so yeah, I know. Can't see where the impacts are probably, but it shoots pretty good. I like it. All right, so there it is. This is the Rossi gallery gun with the wood stock and in .22 Winchester Magnum rimfire. I'll be doing another video on this pretty soon, comparing this to the Winchester rimfire and the firearm that was made for the Winchester rimfire, the 1890 Winchester. This is not quite as refined as Rossi's previous version, the 62A, but it's still a much less expensive version of it. If you can find a 62A, they're probably going to run you between $500 and $1,000, depending on the condition it's in and how greedy the person is that owns it. But you can pick one of these up for around 400 bucks, a little bit less than I think I paid like $360 for this one, somewhere around there. And it's a pretty good version of it, I think. It does have a painted receiver on it, but you know, it's not nearly as expensive as some of the older versions, and not nearly as expensive as a pump action Henry would be in the same caliber. Anyways, thanks for taking a look at the Rossi gallery gun with me. If you could, reach up here and hit this button to check out some of my other videos, and hit the little round one over here to subscribe if you haven't already. Thanks for watching.